Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 25 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we take on round 3 of our young F1 career here from the Japanese Grand Prix weekend. Some upgrades on the way this weekend, but coming into this weekend, here's where we line up on the R&D. So we've actually overtaken Kick Sauber, and Red Bull has overtaken McLaren. Ferrari now behind Mercedes. Some of the key things coming into this weekend is F1 had a big announcement this weekend as well that they will be introducing next season reverse layouts of select tracks on the calendar, including Silverstone, Austria, Netherlands as well, and they will be rotating throughout seasons. So one season we'll have the, normal track, and then the next season we will have a reverse track. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that's going to play a role in future seasons of this career mode, and I'm looking forward to that. But a cool announcement from F1. Unfortunately, the announcement I would prefer is that sprint races are gone. That's not the one I get. So here we are for our first time in our career actually getting some on-track experience here in the wet conditions. So that was certainly a new experience for me, and felt overall fairly comfortable actually here in my first moments. My first lap was a bit slow in the race strategy practice program, but as I got acclimated with the car, found that comfort level and kind of the limits of the car with the throttle and the braking, I was able to find the lap time that I needed. Of course, this race strategy program is going to be completely irrelevant to our race because the race is going to be dry. So we've been lucky, China, Japan, both circuits are quite prone in the F1 game to rain throughout the race weekend in the Grand Prix. Fortunately, China was dry the full weekend, and we're going to get a dry Grand Prix and qualifying here from Suzuka, an iconic track that, of course, has been rumored to maybe be on the way out in real-life Formula 1. I mean, you look at, of course, recent racing product there, wouldn't be too surprising as we come into Saturday for qualifying. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Suzuka as we were ready to hit the racetrack. Now, very excited for this one. I love driving this track. Maybe it's not the greatest for actual racing, but driving this circuit, it's a lot of fun. A lot of history, of course, at this circuit. Rivalries, of course, back in the 80s and 90s in Formula 1 all took place here in Suzuka now as we would hit the track. Next Level Racing on board. I was able to announce that recently we are officially sponsored by Next Level Racing. I can now announce as well that I have a affiliate code here, and I will have my referral link in the description down below. If you use code GOIN25, you get a 5% discount on Next Level Racing products that you purchase, of course, using my link and code. Any products that is from Next Level Racing. So really cool opportunity there as they sent me a all new sim rig as well, this Next Level Racing GT Racer 2.0. So just a huge shout out overall to Next Level Racing for agreeing to this partnership with myself. Very thankful for that. As you can see me on the left side there in my brand new rig. It's a whole frame, a new seat as well, everything other than, of course, my own equipment of my wheel shifter as well as pedals now, as that shifter there to my right side completely irrelevant here in the F1 channel. Of course, you guys see me use it on the regular on my NASCAR channel and where I do supercars racing as well, but yeah, obviously not going to use it here on the F1 side. Now, late in Q1 though, myself and Aiden Jackson down to 20th and 21st. Wasn't looking great, and I botched the end of my second lap, and qualifying is going to come to an end, and a very disappointing end. P21. Not a good qualifying effort for myself, but just for the team as a whole. Aiden Jackson out as well, and yeah, that was quite frustrating. I had a couple more tenths in it, which still wouldn't even have put me into Q2. So we'll start P20, P21, only out qualifying Nico Hulkenberg. We've got some work to do. Let's head to the grid here for Suzuka.
Welcome along to the legendary Suzuka. This classic racetrack boasts a long history dating right back to 1962 when it was first opened. Will more history be written here today at the Japanese Grand Prix? 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Tsunoda, Charles Leclerc, and Russell, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, and Esteban Ocon, Albon, Antonelli, Pierre Gasly, and Stroll, Doohan, Bortoletto, Isaac Hadjar, and Liam Lawson, Behrman, Jackson, Golden Boy, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So then, ready to go racing, 2-stop strategy in the cards for sure. Today we'll be starting on the mediums and then looking at a potential soft and then another soft compound. Now, of course, this is something that could change throughout the race as we're ready to race.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
I hid this under the radar, but check it out. Red Bull, we've got the white liveries that they used IRL for Suzuka on the cars today.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Right, guys, we've made some improvements, but obviously didn't have the pace and quality, but I honestly think we've got some serious race pace here, so let's just stay after it.
Race hard, mate, but save those tyres. Wear has been high this year.
So then, pulling up to the unfortunate back row of this grid, but we're ready to go racing here and hopefully, work our way forward in these early laps to kind of allow us to settle into, a fairly decent position. Now, positions have been hard to come by in terms of going forward. We've been really utilizing strategy to gain track position. 5 red lights, the Japanese Grand Prix underway. It's lights out. Max Verstappen leads a pair of McLarens of Norris and Piastri's going backwards immediately. He's been overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda at home, and there's as well the Ferrari. I believe that's Charles Leclerc, who moves through. Yes, it is Leclerc into P4. Piastri drops down into P5 over George Russell, and then Lewis Hamilton. How about Esteban Ocon in the Haas up here in the top 10 on this opening lap of 27? There's Gabriel Bortoletto there losing out to one of the Alpines now as we continue to watch some battles land. Stroll going at it here with one of the V-carbs now. Who's going to come out on top of that battle? They continue side by side as I myself am just settled in line right here right now with my teammate of Aiden Jackson still just in front of Hülkenberg now as Verstappen leads the way through these opening moments here from this Japanese Grand Prix. I was actually able to overtake Aiden Jackson through the run into turn 1, and now we're going to lunge into the hairpin of the inside of fellow Rookie of the Year competitor Oli Behrman there in that Haas is going to back out of it there, so we'll take P19 and now settle in behind Jack Doohan in the Alpine as we continue to the now end of this first and opening lap. It's been a great start. We started P21, we went up to P19, nothing to complain about there, and already lap 2, Charles Leclerc up the inside through 130R, and he's going to be able to make a pass right here, maybe, but hold on, Norris is going to keep it up the right side, not going to happen. Leclerc into P3, Norris drops to 4th now. The pair of McLarens down to 4th and 5th as we start lap 3 of this Grand Prix, and nothing had changed over the course of lap 2 for myself. Still a similar distance behind Jack Doohan, but I was quite confident in the pace. And one thing that we've noticed in the first 2 rounds of the season is we've had a bit more qualifying pace and race pace. It feels opposite here in Suzuka. We didn't really have qualifying pace, but clearly there's some pace in the car right now after this race has gotten underway. So certainly something to keep in mind as we open that rear wing now and continue to try and manage our battery. We've really struggled in the first 2 rounds managing our battery. So that's another thing I'm trying to work on here over these next handful of races. And, here today in Suzuka is just manage that battery. And at least in the first 4 laps, I had done much better at managing the battery than I did in the first 4 laps from Melbourne and as well in Shanghai. So we've already made some improvements here, and that's you know, every time a new F1 game comes out, these mechanics all work a little bit differently than it did in the previous game, so it's all about just trying to learn, you know, how to manage it. Now, as we have a big slide there on the exit of the corner, but fortunately we're okay, but we haven't really gone anywhere by the time we come to lap 5. Isaac Hadjar up there in P17 on the softs, of course, hoping maybe they start to fall off a little bit here in the next, you know, maybe 3 or 4 laps. As you can see, we're right again to the back of Jack Dew, and now we've kind of got a bit of a stack up here. Maybe Lance Stroll kind of backing up some of these guys. Nonetheless, I'm still pretty confident in the speed, and just looking now for the right opportunity to pounce on Jack Doohan to be able to make a move here now as we continue to just kind of follow close in that within about, you know, 2 to 3 car length range as we now head into the hairpin. This is where we're really making some gains. Aiden Jackson sticking with us. Nico Hulkenberg's right here. Look at this. Bit of an unexpected exit of the corner move right now. Get it turned across the rear wing, and now we'll go side by side with Doohan down the long curve straight away, but just not enough in it right now, so we'll have to back out going into the double left-hander and try to set him up for the end of the lap as we head down in towards 130R. Pressure coming from my teammate of Aiden Jackson, but he allows me to do what I need to do, and here we go for maybe a move, lunging it up the inside of Jack Doohan. We hop over the curb and actually go a little bit into the side pod just about of Jack Doohan. Not how I want to make a pass, which was forcing him to back out. That's not how I like to race. I just didn't expect the car to react to the curb the way it did, so I hit the curb and it kind of shoots you straight. Not how I want to make a pass. Of course, I know I'm far better than that, but the job's done. We're going to try and drive away there. Of course, Jack Doohan's certainly not going to be a huge fan of what just happened there, and now he's certainly under pressure from my teammate of Jackson because I was starting to drive away. I mean, I had now run down Isaac Hadjar. Doohan's now out of DRS range. He's about to be under pressure from my teammate of Aiden Jackson, who would pass him on that DRS straightaway. So, Connor Sports started 20th and 21st. We've swapped positions, but we're up to 18th and 19th. So clearly, there's more race pace in this car than there is qualifying pace, at least this weekend. The opposite of what we've had in the other Grand Prix. Look at this exit there of the hairpin. Again, right on the back of Hadjar, who has a lockup into these final few corners. He might be pitting. Yes, he is. Soft tire drivers coming in right about now. Lap 8 coming to 9. So Hadjar's in. Leclerc as well is pitting from the softs. And up ahead, I can see Stroll trying to make a lunge on Liam Lawson, who's on the softs. I expect to see Lawson pitting at the end of lap 9, starting the 10th lap of this Grand Prix. Now, as for us, of course, we're going to go a little bit further. You know, we can kind of go to about lap 13, 14, 15 range as we continue to get close to these guys. And now to the back and to the left side of Lance Stroll. Same situation as the moment when we had this on Doohan. Just not enough straight line speed in this car. But now you can see Max Verstappen boxing from the lead here on lap 10. So Verstappen gives up the lead. What a beautiful livery that is. He's going to be putting on another set of mediums. That's an interesting call, and I was considering maybe doing the same thing, you know, but we'll kind of give it a few more laps to, you know, really decide. But you can see right now the strategy looks like we're going to be going on to another set of mediums instead of softs at this point. And one reason I wanted to do that as well, it didn't quite seem like the softs had the most pace in them. So we're going to box slightly earlier than I had previously planned on, but we'll come in, of course, the first pit box in the pit lane. Instead of going to 2 sets of softs, we're going to go to another set of mediums, just like Verstappen did, and we'll go to the softs at the end. I do believe the medium is the better compound right now than the soft tire. It seems to have a bit more overall pace there, as Lewis Hamilton right there exits right there alongside one of the Alpines. I come out right in front of Isaac Hadjar. We overall are able to leapfrog him, even with him pitting so much earlier than us and being on the soft compound tire. But Lewis Hamilton, I can confirm, actually has a mechanical issue, so Hamilton is in trouble. He is down on pace, going in the wrong direction, and Ferrari is working on a fix as quick as they can, but obviously they have gotten themselves in a position to where their race is essentially ruined, and now points is going to be hard to come by as he runs outside of the points right now, as we're just behind Stroll, Lawson, and then Lawson's going to have a good opportunity right here down the DRS straightaway to go and pass Lewis Hamilton. Now as I have to defend over Isaac Hadjar, Lawson's going to breeze past Lewis Hamilton as my teammate of Jackson has come into the pits and others as well. Now Stroll next up in line to pounce on the struggling Hamilton here as we're up to P16 as the pit cycle ends for the most part run its course, but the 2 McLarens are on a one-stop strategy. It looks like they are still out on the racetrack trying to go as far as they can. As I actually dip my tires there. into the grass. Ignore that poor excuse of driving as we continue to follow these guys in front. Look at this. Hamilton's now been overtaken by Stroll, but he tries to fight him. Doesn't quite work out. A big mistake right there from the 7-time champion. His third race with Ferrari, and he's really cost himself some time and opened the door to myself, who's coming up into the conversation as we dip my right sides there in the grass again. That time it actually really cost us some time as the Red Bull of Verstappen's already running down the McLarens, who have still yet to make their pit stops now. As here we go, Hamilton struggling on the exit at 130R on the softs. We'll go around the outside of the 7-time world champion. Not how I want to pass him, it's because he's got a mechanical issue, but nonetheless we've gotten around the Ferraris. He slides out of the final bend right there, and now we still have DRS to try and drive away from Hamilton down the straightaway. He has no DRS. Isaac Hanjar now tried to show the nose. Hamilton shut the door. He'll stay in front of the V-Carb rookie for now, but the question is how long. As you can see, Max Verstappen here on lap 14, now making a move to the right side of Oscar Piastri. He goes through into P2. Yuki Tsunoda not far behind Verstappen in a net P2 right now in his home Grand Prix. This is fantastic to see if Tsunoda can get his first podium of his Formula 1 career right here at home. Verstappen now a few moments later, lap 16, takes the lead of this Grand Prix over Norris, and Piastri drops to 4th to Tsunoda. They still have to pit at McLaren. Verstappen, Red Bull, everyone else still has to pit another time, but McLaren, of course, is just doing a one-stop today. Piastri had now made his pit stop on lap 16, actually, so he is a little bit further behind here as we have settled in front of Hamilton, who seems to have settled in now, and actually he might have, as I actually take a warning for track limits there. I think Hamilton's issues had probably just about been resolved now, but the problem now was he's on worn soft, so he's not really going anywhere. So that really puts, points out of the equation for Lewis Hamilton's day here in Suzuka. Not exactly how he wanted his third round with Ferrari to really go for him here, but I got a feeling he's probably going to be able to run us down and pass us before this Grand Prix is over, but it's going to have to come in the final run after the second set of stops for myself and him, as well as we've actually opened up the gap further on Hamilton to now nearly 4 seconds as we're actually reeling in the V-Carb of Liam Lawson, who would eventually, though, pit at the end of lap 18, same as Alex Albon. As you can see, Lance Stroll about 3 seconds up the road. Here comes Esteban Ocon exiting. It's going to be close. Do we stick it around the outside? Yes, we do. Could have maybe stayed put behind them, but didn't want to waste any time. Lewis Hamilton has now made his final pit stop, so expect to see him pretty close to us as we make our pit stop here very soon. Here comes Ocon, the same lap here down the long back straightaway towards 130R. Is going to breeze by me in that Haas. Now Ocon, the Frenchman, having a very solid outing here today in Suzuka. Now as we come to the start of lap 20, now Stroll, Gasly, as well as Sainz in the pits, Antonelli as well. This puts us into the top 10. Obviously, we will be pitting really likely at the end of this lap. I was kind of eyeing down, and then, we're going to come in and put the soft compound tire on here and have about a 6-7 lap run to the end of this race, or we can just really focus in on just going hard here. Now, Antonelli, a nice step up here this weekend in Suzuka compared to, the opening race in Melbourne, and as well today, as well as last episode in China. As we hit the pits here, Fernando Alonso as well in his pit box. Now we'll get the mediums off, softs on 2.4 seconds. We'll rejoin the racing action here. Now Gasly should breeze by us, and so should Stroll, and so does Lawson. We're going to come out right in front of Lewis Hamilton, who's got a mirror full of the German driver of Nico Hülkenberg here, but we are P15. The question is, can we maintain P15 with well under 10 laps to go in this Japanese Grand Prix? Now is Max Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda, your top 2 drivers still, as we now have Lewis Hamilton up our left side into 130R here. Not much of a reason to fight that for obvious reasons. He's a Ferrari, we're in Icona Sport yellows. It's fellow Canadian Lance Stroll, tire puncture, left rear tire, down for Stroll. He's coming into the pits, a free position for us there, trouble for the Aston Martin now, and we'll now move back from 15th to 16th after Hamilton passes back up to P15. And now my goal was simple. We're really going to try and maintain just being in the DRS of Hamilton, because I think if we can do that, we'll be in good shape. But Aiden Jackson, my teammate, managed to get past Nico Hulkenberg, and now is within striking distance on myself. You can see he's only about 0.6 of a second back. So how about this step up? I mean, we qualified P20, P21, and now we're 15th and 16th in the final 3 laps of this Grand Prix. A nice step up from where we started this race between myself and our teammate of Aiden Jackson. Very happy with just the progress that we've made here as we continue to follow Hamilton. I don't really have enough speed to get enough of a run on him to maybe go for an overtake, but we've got just enough to kind of stay in the DRS. Hamilton just doesn't quite have what he needs here in the tail end of this race, even after it seems like they've figured out their mechanical issues. Max Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda, your top 2. Piastri as well has gotten in front of his McLaren teammate of Norris on this final lap for the final spot on the podium. White flag in the air here from the Japanese Grand Prix as we close up to the back of Lewis Hamilton. Not quite enough there again to make a move, so we're really just going to have to settle for P15 from the looks of it now, as Verstappen is in the final stretches looking to bring it home for what would be a win here from Suzuka. Verstappen rounds the final turn, 7 seconds up on his teammate of Yuki Tsunoda. Verstappen wins in Japan. It'll be a home podium for Yuki Tsunoda as well, with the special Red Bull branding on the car for this Japanese Grand Prix weekend as we continue to follow Hamilton right to the end, draining our battery completely with a corner or 2 corners to go now. But what a day. I mean, we really struggled in qualifying, but we rebounded to a very respectable effort for both of myself and Jackson. P15, P16 for the team. We will gladly take that. A bit of a building block, I would say, going forward. Right, guys, that was not easy, but I mean, thanks for sticking with it. I mean, so much hard work there, and it paid off. Let's keep this momentum.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
Max Verstappen on top. He'll be leading the standings following this Japanese Grand Prix. And, you know, they, of course, overtook McLaren coming into this weekend as well in terms of the R&D. So we're seeing Red Bull kind of, you know, an early season push to get themselves out in front of McLaren. But, I mean, we've got a long season of racing. We still have, you know, it's a 24-race season. We've done 3. We got 21 races still where a lot is going to happen. So, you know, Max Verstappen, Red Bull, they're going to have to stay on it all season long and just hope that they can maintain and hold off McLaren. How about Esteban Ocon? P7, great effort for him. Antonelli in P8 there in the points. Both Williams in the points there, 9th and 10th for Sainz and Albon. Alonso just outside of the points, and Stroll the only DNF. Hadjar, Bortoletto there, 20th and 21st. Looking at the standings, Verstappen now 11 points advantage on Norris, 32 back to Tsunoda, 37 for Piastri. Then you got Leclerc running out that top 5. Antonelli now bumps up to P12 in the standings. Now, of course, we're still looking for our first points at Connor Sport. We're the only team now without a point. Even Kick Sauber has a point. Red Bull leads the constructors. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.